Welcome to Eat Right by George, the healthy cooking show that shows you healthy can be delicious. And on today's show, I'll be demonstrating how to make spinach pie, Spinach Pie, which is a traditional Greek dish, but is also well loved by people of all cultures. So for Spinach Pie, you're going to need, of course, spinach. You're going to need about 2 cups. You're also going to need chopped green onions, about 3 or 4 chopped green onions. You also will need feta cheese, about a pound, but we're probably only going to use about a half pound of it. Just in case we need more, we have a little extra on hand. We'll need 2 lemons, and we'll need 3 eggs, and we'll need a pound of phyllo dough, which I'll show you how to use in order to make the spinach pie and give you some tips to keep it from drying out while you're using it and breaking too. And last but not least, we're going to need different types of herbs such as mint, dill, and a little bit of parsley. I'm using Italian parsley. And of course, for making spinach pie, we will need cutting board, knife, and a pastry brush, which is very important in order to brush layers of phyllo dough. So I'm going to get started right away. The first thing I'm going to do is get my herbs ready. So I'm going to cut off the stems or break them off, and take my mint as well. Break off the stems, and then begin chopping them. It's very important to have fresh herbs for your spinach pie. And what I do is I want to mince them. So I'm going to take and use my French knife and go over them over and over until they are fine. If you see any stems, you can pull those out because the stems can make the spinach pie kind of chewy, and you don't want that. You want everything to melt in your mouth when you're making spinach pie or spanakopita. So as you can see here, I chopped up my herbs. Nice and fine chop. And I love making spanakopita because using so many different types of ingredients, and it's so fresh, and you're getting all your food groups in one meal, which is really, really convenient. Getting all the foods that are healthy for you. Now I got my herbs chopped in one bowl. Next I'm going to take and I would chop up some green onions. What I did before the show started, to save a little time, is chopped up about 4 to 5 green onions. Put those in my bowl here. You want to make them a fine chop. You can use the green and the white. And next, take my spinach and chop that. So I'm taking all this spinach here, giving it a good chop. There's about 2 cups. And we know how important spinach is in our diet. It's full of B vitamins, antioxidants. It's an important superfood. And we don't eat enough spinach. And this is a great way to get more spinach in our diet. Prevents cancer, prevents heart disease. Definitely a superfood. Want to give it a good chop. Don't leave the leaves whole. And there we go. Put that in our bowl. You can see already. And next, we're going to use our feta cheese. And what you want to do is crumple it ahead of time. If you get a block of feta cheese, you want to crumple that. I'm going to use about a half pound here. Now, there's always extra in case you need it. And then I want to take a half of a lemon and get the juice of the lemon. get any seeds. I'm going to get those out. A couple got through there. And the lemon gives it a little zing. Spinach pie should have a little zing, definitely. We can mix this. Then I'm going to add 3 eggs. Now feta cheese, the other thing about feta cheese is that it's a low-fat cheese. So 3 eggs. Mix those around. And that's really pretty much it. Have your mix already made. Now your mix shouldn't be too dry and not too runny either. So you can see this is just right. You want your eggs to coat your spinach leaves and your herbs in there, and your onions. You may want to add a few more, a pinch of green onions, get a little more green in there. And then put that aside and start working with your phyllo dough. So we're done chopping. I move my cutting board out of the way. Now for this recipe we will need also a 9x13 cake pan, aluminum cake pan. And first thing I want to do is take the olive oil and brush the bottom of my cake pan. Be very liberal here. Be generous. Make sure to get in all the corners, because this is going to be the bottom and it's going to make the crust of the spinach pie more crispy, because you want that bottom layer to be crispy. And we'll move this out of the way. You want to have plenty of room for your spinach pie. So here we go. And this is the phyllo dough, which means in Greek it means friend or it means leaf. So this is cut into thin as a leaf. As you will see, it's thin leaves. And it dries out very quickly, so you want to work very fast. So the first 6 layers of the phyllo dough, you can kind of just add them and not worry about brushing each one, because this is going to be the bottom. So you don't have to worry. You can just fold in your corners very neatly. So there's 2 there. You can see it's paper thin. It's really interesting to work with. This is my 3rd layer. Work that in. A lot of people are afraid to work with phyllo dough because it breaks. Make sure when you buy it that you buy it frozen and then take it out the day before you're going to work with it. So you don't want to have it frozen and try to work with it. All I do is just sort of alternate here. Keep it even. So if I go right, left, center. This is my 4th layer, a couple more for the crust here on the bottom. There's 5. If it does break, you can always kind of patch it up a little bit. So don't worry if it breaks in certain spots. As you can see, I got my 5th layer here and 1 more, and then I'm going to start buttering them. And phyllo dough is used in a lot of different things. Baklava, which is a Greek pastry as well, with honey and nuts and cinnamon. Sometimes people use phyllo dough in other ways. They'll make little muffins with the phyllo and fill them up with some type of filling. I'm using olive oil instead of butter. A lot of spinach pies are prepared using butter, which has some saturated fat. So we're making this a little bit more healthy. So I'm using my pastry brush. As you can see, getting into all the corners. You don't want to leave any dry spots. So we're going to do about 4 layers here with the olive oil. So I work quickly because my phyllo can dry out. A lot of times people use a damp cloth and put that over the phyllo dough to keep it from drying out. And just like sheets of paper. So think of it that way. You just work with it. Then I'm going to put the filling in pretty soon. Take it. This is a really good brand. This is the Athens brand of phyllo. And haven't had any breaking on me yet. Sometimes the last layer breaks at times. But just make sure to get into the corners where it gets dry. You get into the corners, you don't have to worry. And now, as you can see, I'm going to start adding my filling. And I don't know too much because it becomes soggy. As you can see, it's just right. It has a little bit of dryness and a little bit of the olive oil. So I'm going to make like a 2-layer spinach pie here. So you put your layer all the way to the corners. Not too much, because then your spinach pie is going to be kind of soggy. You want it to be somewhat crispy when you bite into it. You can see here is 1 layer, and now I'm going to start adding my other layers. Here we go. Showing you a quick way to make your very own spinach pie. Not difficult at all, as you can see. I'm making it look really simple. As long as you have all the right tools, you will be successful in making spinach pie. So it's having the pastry brush, having the right size pan. I like working with the 13x9 pans. If you can't find aluminum pans, if you have a 13x9 glass dish, casserole dish, that will work as well. Making sure to get into the corners here. And alternating. So I'll put one to the right, one to the left, one to the center. Some people like to take and cut the phyllo at the right size. If you have the time, you can also cut this in half, and then, but I like to do it this way. It's crispier on the ends there. Now this one cracked, but don't worry. This one kind of broke. It's okay because it's in the center. So I'm doing 4 more here. Then I'll add another layer. And also it's good to take a knife and kind of push them down, even them out. We're right at the halfway point here. So now I'm going to add my second layer of phyllo, of spinach pie to my phyllo. So we want a double layer of spinach. We love our spinach. If you want to add some spiciness to your filling, you can also add a little white pepper if you like to have your spinach pie a little bit more spicy. Add pepper. However, I would not advise adding more salt because there's already salt in your feta. In your feta cheese, there is already salt. So there's no need to add salt to this and add more sodium to it. So here we go. Simple way to make spinach pie, quick and easy. Once again, I'm adding to the right, to the left here, then to the center. And I hope you've been checking out our Facebook page, where we have a lot of interesting articles and recipes, pictures from past Eat Right by George shows as well. We have videos. We've done so many great recipes here on Eat Right by George. We've done Greek omelet, another Greek recipe we've done, Greek scallops. We do love our Greek recipes on Eat Right by George. Okay, getting almost done here. It's a whole pound of phyllo dough. And I'm going to show you what to do here. The last ones, I just add them plain without adding any butter because it's the top layer now. So there's about 5 left here. Now these I do not have to butter the last 5. So I just add them straight, and then I'm going to butter the last one. As you can see here, because it's the crust, I want it to be crispier on the very top. And also the important thing is to cut the spinach pie before you put it in the oven. Into our last couple here. It's very important to cut the spinach pie before you put it in the oven, because once it's baked and comes out, it's very difficult to cut it. All the layers flake and you have a problem.